I've got a couple of tips for you today on running wire from the engine bay into the cab on the 2024 Tacoma. I'm kind of working on a mod right now. I actually don't have everything that I need to complete it, but as I've been figuring out how to do this, I thought, you know, there's a couple of tips that might come in handy if you're looking to do something like this. First of all, let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm hooking up my homemade home link system, and what that means is I run a wire, or two wires, because I have two devices to activate, two just common garage door openers, and I've got those, they're actually sitting over here, that I've connected wires to the contact points that when the wires are put together, they activate the garage door or whatever it is I'm trying to activate. Those are going to be mounted up here in the engine bay underneath this panel. And by the way, here's the first tip for you. This panel pulls off by just pushing it this way. It just has those little grabber kind of clamp-like things that go over that white holder under there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not going to pull it off right now. But it's the same way as the third gen was. So if you had a third gen and you ever pulled these off to install like the hood struts, then you know it comes off the same way. And then in the front, there is one of those little push pin things. I'll show you that right there. And it's right here. That you have to take out, and that allows you to remove this whole trim piece here. Now, while we're up here, if you look down inside, you can see there is a yellow rod coming out. That is one of those little snaking tools that I sharpened and then pushed through that big grommet that you can see where the hood release comes through and then that bundle of wires below. That's where I'm going to run the wire through that I'm going to pull through to the front. So that's the first tip. Now, more importantly, if you want to pull anything through on the inside here or get to the switches, by the way, while I've got you under here, I'll show you where this goes through. You can see it's actually more accessible. You can see the yellow push rod. It's more accessible in the 2024 than the 2023 for sure. You can reach it really easily. So I'm just going to pull that rod through, and then obviously my wire will follow. Now, switch-wise, on mine, there are a bunch of blanks because I don't have the fully loaded version. And all of these, you can see two are missing. I'll tell you how I got those out. And by the way, do not take a screwdriver and try to pry those out. It's not going to work, and you're going to damage all around the area and the little blank part itself if you're going to reuse it like I am. But there are many. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them here. I chose to take out these two, and I'm going to mount a momentary switch in these, in the top. I'm going to drill a hole through and then put a momentary switch in where I'll connect one pair of wires to each that will initiate the signal for those garage door openers. So, how do you get these things out? First of all, they go in like this, and there's little pressure arms on each side. That's what holds them in, so it's very easy, and I'm not going to push it all the way in, obviously. Very easy to push them back in. To get them out, you need to pull this panel right here, and it comes off. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's easy. You're going to feel like you're breaking it probably, but it's just held on by these little arms on the back. You can see on each side. You have to overcome those first. And the ones that you want to remove first, or the way you want to remove it rather, is from the bottom. So you want to pull out like this and then out from the top, because these are the little hooks on the top, and they actually hook into or hook over. I guess they kind of push in via pressure. These two slots you see here, and then there's this little arm that goes into this slot right here. So to put it back in, you want to go ahead, line it up like that, and then just push it back in and it'll snap into place. Now, once you have this out, and be cautious, there is wiring. If you have any options in there, you can see mine is for the light or lights in the back. Just leave it dangle. You don't need to disconnect it if you want to. It is just a push connector, so you could go ahead and pull it off if you just want it out of the way. But to pull off these little covers right here, what you want to do is reach up underneath. And what I did is I took a really small screwdriver and just stuck it in the slot or the hole here and use that as leverage to push, because they are in there pretty tightly. So unless you have superhuman strength in your fingers, I guess I don't, both from the pain and the pressure, you need something for leverage. So I just stuck a screwdriver in that slot and then I pushed from the back and they just pop right out. You can overcome those little arms on the sides pretty easily, these things right here. And notice they're not damaged or anything either, so obviously they'll go right back in. Once you've got your mod done, if you're going to do something similar to what I'm doing, obviously you just push them back in. Pretty darn simple. That's a handful of tips for you if you're looking to run any kind of wiring into your 2024 Tacoma from the engine bay. That's the best way that I have seen so far to do it. What I will be adding too, and I'm not sure where I'm going to put it because I will have some lights on here, either in the grill or I don't know, maybe on the back. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, if I'm going to put any lights up top like I did before. Be a different approach, I guess, but similar to what I did before on the 2024. But I'm going to have this aux beam switch mounted somewhere. Now, mounting that thing in there, there is no room over here on the side. You can see you've got the master cylinder here. There's nowhere to put it there. You could mount it maybe on top of the fuse box, but I don't like to do that because I like to have room. So there is an area right here that I could somehow, maybe via these screws, I might have to make a little tray or something. Wouldn't take much. One screw is probably enough, I'm sure. And this hole is even threaded, and so is that one. So if I had a tray that just came off of here, I could mount it right there. Otherwise, we're kind of left with mounting it somewhere here, which I don't want to do, or over on this side, which is probably what I will do now that I'm looking at this live with you guys, because the battery is over here. And obviously, I have to connect the aux beam panel to the battery. So it's going to have to be mounted over here somewhere, and I'm not exactly sure where. Maybe it will have to be on this fuse box. I don't know. Is that actually a fuse panel over there? Maybe I'm wrong. Here's the ECU, the brains. This is fuses. So we have a lot of fuses here. We have a whole fuse panel here and a whole nother, I guess, fuse panel here. They both say relay and fuses. So maybe I will end up mounting it up here and then running the wiring over there into the truck, or maybe I'll run it over here on the side. I'm not exactly sure. Not quite as much open space that's not got something sitting in front of it on this truck, so it's going to be a little bit interesting. Anyway, just kind of wanted to show you guys that. I know everybody who's got the 2024 now is maybe starting to think about lighting or electrical accessories. That's the best way that I've found to run them through so far. Leave a comment if you've got the 24 and you've run wiring. How did you get it through the firewall? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.